how did you ever get out of the trap of comparing yourself to others? Yeah, so I read a book by the Dalai Lama, which I highly recommend, called The Art of Happiness. And the Dalai Lama said the problem with Western society is that we compare ourselves to other people that have more than us, which is ridiculous. And what happens in Western society, per the Dalai Lama and his book, The Art of Happiness, what happens is people will sacrifice their health their entire lives in order to make money. And at the end of their lives, they'll sacrifice all of their money in order to maintain their health. And then they look back and they realize they never really lived to begin with. And so when I read that book by the Dalai Lama, that really changed how I think about life, And I know that a lot of people that are extraordinarily wealthy are also depressed. They're depressed, and their children are even more depressed. Because what happens is they keep chasing money and not living life to its fullest extent. And because they're just chasing money their entire lives, they're always comparing themselves to those that have more. And it's dangerous. And when I worked on Wall Street at Goldman Sachs, the cancer of Wall Street, and this was my fault, not Goldman's fault, this is my fault from a perception perspective, my fault and the fault of a lot of my fellow finance professionals on Wall Street is that every Christmas bonus season, we'd all be depressed because we'd compare ourselves to those that have more. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. And last thing I'll say about that, Mary, is you should always never give a damn what other people think of you. Ever, ever, ever. And if you tell yourself, I don't care what people think of me or you, then what happens is we don't become as self-conscious, and I'm picking on myself here, in terms of showing off that I have, the best car, or, I own this great big house, which I don't, for example. And the second you stop caring what other people think is the second you live life on your own terms. And it's also the second that you no longer are their prisoners in your mind, Speaking of not caring what people think, how do you like my badass Millennium Falcon shirt? I don't care if people think I'm a little bit juvenile for this. I love it. My first movie was Star Wars. I was 5 years old. My mom read all the words to me in 1977. I'll never forget that. I love you, Mom, if you're watching. So, Mary, hopefully that answers your question. If you have any additional questions, please let me know. And thank you as always.